Kingdom Fit Productions. This is Mike the Fit Prince back again with another one. I want you to make sure you like that video, comment, subscribe, interact with me. Turn your post notifications on so that you're notified when I'm dropping new content. And hey, if someone's willing to, receive and kind of get this message here going, all right, hey, well, just let them know. Let them know about it. Let them know about your boy. You see what I'm saying? Let them know about the Kingdom Fitness, where we promote mental, physical, and spiritual health. All three levels of fitness. We ain't leaving nothing out, and we talk about various subjects. But hey, understand this though. This is a Christian platform. This is a Bible-believing space, right? But all walks of life, all people are welcome. You know what I mean? Come to Christ, or just listen for the information. All these different things can probably be applied to your life, right? But hey, now this one is geared more towards the Christians. Okay. This is mainly for my Christian brothers and sisters in the faith, doing whatever it is what we got to do to uphold kingdom culture, to uphold Christ's culture, what he established already when he came, when he died, he rose again, and is set forth at the right hand of the Father. We got to understand, y'all. The influence of culture in today's day and tradition is very heavy, right? And we're going to go into a topic of, will we defend Christ's culture? Christ came with its culture, and will we defend it? Will we defend Christ's culture? Will we defend the morals, the traditions? Will we hold fast to the things that have been taught throughout not only just the Old Testament, but through the New Testament as well? Because a lot of us are adapting. I will say this though, there's nothing wrong with adapting. There's nothing wrong with adapting to your culture, adapting to the certain traditions that may not inherently be wrong or inherently be bad or evil or anything like that. Nothing that necessarily goes against your conscience or goes against your beliefs in morals, values. But the thing is, and whether somebody believes or not, there is a creator. When you look out, when you get on a plane, when you get out into the ocean, like if you mean to tell me that nobody was the cause, or no spirit, nothing outside of this realm was the cause of this earth, then you just gotta be tripping. And you gotta be delusional. You have to be a fool, because why? The fool says in his heart that there is no God. A fool will say that because the earth and everything in the earth is literally proof of the Most High God himself. But see, the thing is, so all of us are kind of born into different cultures, born into different nationalities, ideologies, and belief systems that have shaped our minds and conditioned our brains to believe and to respond and to act in certain ways, to really shape our thinking, to shape our moral character, to shape our character in general, to shape who we are as people. Right? We've allowed societies throughout generations upon generations to do this. And, like I said, it's just what's going to happen. It happens because people have to follow something. People have to follow a certain code. There's a certain rule book. There's a certain set of standards that people definitely need to follow and definitely need to adhere to in order to keep people from harming each other, in order to keep people from doing the wrong thing. And hey, I don't know, just if it's going based off of a society that doesn't necessarily believe in God per se, or doesn't really hold fast to certain biblical standards, well, okay, they're going to start making laws and regulations and standards outside of God, outside of the mind frame of the Most High, outside of the wisdom of the divine being, outside of what was always supposed to be established for all people, and we start to trust in ourselves. We start to trust in our own standards and our own cultures, our own ways of doing things, because, hey, especially when we've been growing up in these things so long, and our grandparents, our aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and our foreparents have done these things for years and generations, and it seems to have worked. We just got to make sure we sorry, y'all. We have to make sure that if we're going to be Christians, if we're going to be Bible believers, we have a calling, okay? There's something that Christ mentioned concerning our cultures, concerning our traditions. When he was talking to the scribes and Pharisees in Matthew, I believe no, not 15. Matthew, I forgot. Matthew, not 14. It's really not gonna matter, guys, but okay, Matthew 15. I'm sure it's Matthew 15. But concerning the scribes and Pharisees who, yes, they had the law of Moses. Yes, they had certain traditions and stuff that were passed down from the law of Moses that they kept and upheld, and that were godly. And a lot, because the law of Moses came from God himself. But the law is spiritual, and it's a good standard for the Jews to hold. It's a good standard for anybody, because anybody who would be a part of the family of God would come in and get circumcised. But the thing is, Christ told them, Christ, an Israelite himself, growing up in the Israelite culture, being the Son of God himself, being come down from the heavenly realm, being come down from glory and magnificence and God-like stature and substance. He humbled himself and put it off for a time, even though he was God, but he derived all his power from God. He humbled himself and became like his brothers to save us, to save them. You know what I mean? And he calls out the traditions of the elders. He calls out the traditions of the Israelites of that time, because what they did was they went against the very commands of God, trying to even uphold something godlike. But, there's certain things that they added. There's certain things that they took away. There's certain things that they deemed as righteous, establishing their own righteousness, but continually falling short to even their own standards, right? Christ says, you forsake the commandments of God to uphold your traditions. You forsake what God really and truly desires to uphold your own morals, to uphold your own status, to uphold your own culture, to uphold your own traditional ways and traditional practices, so that, you can feel comfortable, you can feel good, so that your emotions can be prioritized. But Christ says, God is above all that. God is above it. God needs your undivided attention as Bible believers, as Christians. God needs you to listen to him. Doesn't matter what may have been in the past, what may come in the future, what may be now. God needs you to listen to him. God needs you to listen and understand, because our traditions get in the way. Our traditions and our cultures blind us from what God is actually trying to tell us, and how God actually wants us to think and operate. It's not that we're going to get everything right all the time, but again, there's just certain things that God wants us to do, and how he wants us to operate. And it's all, a lot of it's based off of how he designed us as well. Let's even go here, because now we look at the law of Moses. The law of Moses was to be as a sign, be as an example to all other nations for wisdom, for understanding, for knowledge, because the other nations were going to look at Israel and be like, wow, this is truly a wise and understanding people, a holy people, above all nations, holy, set apart from the rest of the world, because that's how God is. God is holy, God is righteous, and God is pure. And he gave a pure law. He gave pure code. He gave pure conduct. Now, transitioning to Christ's fulfillment, a lot of the things that don't necessarily affect the heart, because God put things in his law that don't necessarily affect the heart. And Christ touched on those things, like the stuff you put in your mouth, the holy days, and the stuff like that you observe. I guess exemplified through the apostles, touched on through the apostles. And now when we come to the fulfillment of when Christ said it is finished, when Christ has done his work and he has put down sin, he has actually defeated death, and he has now completed and filled up the sum of what was told of him and what was prophesied of him in the old covenant. We now have a law under Christ. It's no more Moses. It's no more just the Israelites having the preeminence now to dictate. The Christians now have the key. The Christians now have the way of life in which all people are to now function and how to operate. You know what I mean? A lot of Christians, what I see is continuing to follow the humanistic culture, continuing to follow the individualistic culture, and compromising certain key things that God really wants us to do, and God really needs us to actually take hold of, so that we can be set apart, for His glory, for His image, right? And listen, humanity has always had one culture, right? It was partially put forth, and the Israelites were to exemplify how humanity should be operating, because again, it all came from God through the law of Moses. And now when Christ has come and established His moral code, established a higher level of understanding the scriptures, and a pretty much a higher level of understanding what we're supposed to be doing, and how to stay away from sin, and how to understand sin, and how to really humble ourselves in God's sight, realizing that there's nothing we could really do to really just bring to Him and say, God, I did this, I did that, I did that. Nah, did you believe in my son? That's what He's gonna say. You know what I mean? Yeah, He's gonna look at all the works that you've done, but at the same time, you can do all these different things, but if you don't believe and trust in His son, if you haven't really taken hold of God, taking hold of Christ's commands, or Christ's, His completed work necessarily, specifically, Christ's completed work specifically, hey, it's all in vain. The works are in vain. So humanity has always had one culture. Humanity was always supposed to have one God. You have to look at Adam and Eve. They had one understanding and one God and one way of living. And that was to obey God, not to obey certain, some laws or cultural things that the governments of the world would dish out. You know what I'm saying? There was one nation, there was one blood. All of us come from Adam, and we were all made to be subject to God. Hey, Christ came with certain things. When we read Matthew 5, 6, and 7, when we read the apostles' writings, this is the culture being made manifest and being cultivated, right? Especially, and when we read Matthew 5, 6, and 7, Christ is talking to the Israelites mostly, because we have to understand the audience. But Christ also was giving us now a glimpse at what really should be thought about and what really should be practiced, and how we really should be carrying things out. You know what I mean? It's way deeper than just following simple commands. Now we understand that Christ, He wants us to love our neighbors as ourselves, love God with all our heart, soul, and mind, and whatever moral practices that affect the heart, that affect the person's intentions, that affect the person actually going out and doing a person right or wrong, or really glorifying God, right, from the character of their being. That's how we serve God, and that's how we're supposed to come to Him and glorify Him, right? There's just certain things we got to do within marriage, within personal interaction, within business, with jobs, just going and doing each and every day, family, right? It all comes together. So, man, I tell you, will we defend Christ's culture? Will we defend the culture that Christ established? I wonder. Or are we just going to kind of continue to follow and compromise the world standards? Are we going to compromise the Christ standards, the apostles' standards, for the world standards? Because why? The apostles said, hey, look, listen, follow me as I follow Christ. The things that I'm saying, a lot of these things are the commandments of Christ. And of course, the apostles are going to let you know, hey, if something is of me or something is of Christ, especially Paul, because that's what he taught, right? He taught things that, hey, listen, he made it clear. I'm speaking of myself. I'm speaking of concerning me. But this is what God says. This is what the Lord says, how we should operate. So we can be set apart, so that God can identify who we are. You know what I mean? It all comes from within, the person, the inner man, right? So you got to check yourself and really understand, is my heart right with God? Is my mind in a space to where I can conform to the ways of God rather than conforming to the ways of the world? Can I transform my mind? Or is my mind still stuck on what the world is doing, how the world is operating, how we do things in today's day, instead of just going back and actually going towards the old way, and the way that which was profitable to us, the way that which was good, and that hey, it kept society going and it kept society strong, right? Society's breaking right now. And again, us Christians have to practice and establish ourselves in the kingdom mindset, the kingdom culture. We have to establish ourselves in that before Christ comes back, right? Because he's coming back for a church that's holy, without blemish. Of course, at the end of the day, it's about your belief. But man, how many more souls can be added if us as Christians just carry out the culture of Christ and not let the standards of the world deeply affect us? Let God deeply affect us, not the standards and culture, traditions of the world. Not to say that we shouldn't obey the governments, not to say that we shouldn't do what the government tells us to do, but if it makes us go against God's word, if it makes us go against God's commands, if it lowers our moral character, if society tells us to do things that are not of God, that God really wouldn't approve of, not according to our convictions, but according to what God said in his word, hey, we ought to obey God rather than men, okay? Culture or, tradition, or Christ, his culture, his traditions, and what he desires. How are people going to know and identify a true child of God, right? Don't be too prideful and be like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what people say. It definitely does matter. Like this video, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so that you are notified when I'm dropping new content, right? Keep up with the latest content and everything like that, guys. And we're going to keep coming with more, okay? We're going to keep coming with more thought-provoking, more realistic perspectives on certain things. I don't have all the answers, but I'm just another guy talking on YouTube. But at the end of the day, this could help somebody. For regardless of the views, regardless of the subscribers, regardless of the likes, if somebody can benefit, if somebody can actually renew their minds and come to Christ, I'm doing my job. It doesn't even matter. No matter how many videos I got up here. All right? So hope to see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna holla at you guys later. Kingdom Fit Productions, Mike the Fit Prince signing out. Peace.